Hey, I'm the Kinky Polyatheist, and in this episode, we're talking about polycules. Today, we're going to talk about polycules. What are they? How do they work? What are some basic formats? As soon as you add more than two people to a relationship, suddenly there's a lot more interesting dynamics, let's just say. I'm committed to answering all your questions, so if you want to drop something in the comments below, I'd be happy to put it in my list of things to answer. Also, I have an email address, ask@kinkypolyatheist.com, where you can send me anonymous questions. Also, like and subscribe. It actually does help me if you subscribe, just so you know. So let's just jump in. What are polycules? Polycules are a great way to show you what relationships look like. And I'm just going to start simple. I'm going to introduce more people and show you how the relationships work. In this, I'm going to talk about the relationships with people, just people interacting, but I'm also going to talk about sexual relationships and things like that. So I'll hit both sides of it on all the slides. So we're going to start with single. So here we are, we've got one person, they're single. You can add more people and they become friends. So this is how we're going to display friends. It's a couple dots, there's no actual lines between anybody because there's no need. Now let's back that up a little bit. Here is the relationship that everybody is familiar with. Here is a couple. This is a monogamous relationship or a marriage, however you want to call it. And you have two people and one solid connection. They've been together for years, they're living together, they're married, whatever you want to call it. For this presentation, I just want you to know that a link between two people could mean anything, but let's just say they've slept together at least once and they plan on sleeping together again within the month. I also want to say that for everyone I'm about to show you, we're considering that all people have been tested for sexually transmitted diseases and infections within the last 3 to 6 months, and they continue to do it every 3 to 6 months and always use condoms. So I want you to know that once we start talking about more than two people, just keep in mind everyone's been tested, everyone's talking about it, everyone uses condoms all the time. So safe sex practices are always advised in all of this stuff. I'll have another video that goes into more detail about that, but for now, just know all of these interactions are as safe as they can be. So we have a couple. What next? Say we add a friend. So now we have typical third wheel situation, right? What happens when that friend gets a little bit closer and two people hook up? This is called a V. So this is a situation where you have one person dating two people. There's also a couple other scenarios here. So it could be one person's dating around and he's open and honest to everybody about, hey, I'm dating you, but I'm also dating other people. You need to know there's sex involved. We're always safe. Or it could be a relationship where three people are living together and also they're sleeping together. This could be a situation where you have a couple who has a live-in boyfriend or girlfriend. In this case, the live-in boyfriend or girlfriend is only actually sexual with one of the two people in the couple. But I think you get the idea. You've got somebody who's dating two people, while the other two do not interact with each other physically. If they did interact with each other, now it becomes a triad. So with a triad, everyone's sleeping with everyone. And that could involve a bisexual element, or it could be that all the people, all the players in this image are male and gay, or female and gay. So I want to make sure you understand that in all the images you're going to see today, the people involved, the circles, they could be male or female, and they can identify as male or female. They could also be bisexual, and many other versions of sexuality, transgender, etc. You could have a triad of three people living in the same house and enjoying all their company. It doesn't necessarily mean that all people have to sleep together all the time. It could be two people pair up and then two other people pair up, depending on moods and things like that. But yes, I know you're going to ask the question, this could be a threesome. And honestly, they're wonderful. In fact, now that I mention that, I want to show you my logo. My logo is actually a threesome where two of the players have a kinky connection. So if you didn't already catch that, I just wanted to kind of put that out there for you. It looks like a heart because polyamory is all about multiple loves, but my logo very specifically is a threesome where there is a kinky connection involved. Let me back that up a little bit. So triad, when you introduce another friend to a triad, you end up with a fourth wheel. It's just like a third wheel. It's just now you have a fourth player who's kind of outside the relationship of three, and maybe they're monogamous, so they don't even want to get involved, or maybe they're worried about various things like safe sex, or maybe they're just not interested in each other. That's okay too. But ultimately, you've got a relationship and an extra person hanging out. If there was a connection, this extra person could get linked with one of the people. So now you have a triad where one person is sleeping with somebody outside the relationship, which creates a whole new relationship dynamic. This is why they're called polycules. You can see how these shapes are coming together. There's a triad with an extra piece coming off to another relationship. Some relationship examples of this could be 3 people in a relationship living together and somebody has a boyfriend or girlfriend outside the house. As a sexual experience, if these 4 people got together, you would see that 3 of them would interact with each other and that extra person would only interact with one other person. There's a whole lot involved with sex with more than one person. There's a lot of boundary setting and boundary following and things like that. I'll talk about that in another video. So let's back that up. Here's our 4th wheel again. Here's our triad, all the way to our V. So this is solo poly. And the idea here is the person at the bottom is dating more than 2 people. And they could date however many they want. It's calling out a relationship dynamic where one person almost considers themselves single. This might sound strange to hear, but the mindset is a little bit of, I'm single, I'm dating around, I'm not exclusive with anybody. And that just never ends. So if you can imagine starting from there and just dating around, being open and honest with everybody you're dating, hey, I'm dating other people right now, I don't plan on being exclusive with anybody, I'm being safe with all my safe sex practices, I got tested 2 months ago, all my partners get tested. If you're open and upfront, you can actually just date around. So what if that never ends? What if this is a scenario of one person dating 3 other people, but then they just continue to do this for the next year or 2 years? There's no reason to stop. There's no reason to escalate the relationships or kick anybody out along the way. And I'll talk about the relationship escalator in another video, which is a really great concept that came from the book More Than Two. If this was a sexual encounter and these 4 people ended up in the same bed at the same time, it would look exactly like this. It would be 3 people who don't really interact with each other sexually, but all focus on one. Everybody's interested in one person, or maybe everybody's just spoiling one person. So let's back up a little bit more. Here's back to friends. Here we are with our couple again. And our couple's hanging out with 2 friends. But over time, the friends hook up. And now you have people double dating, which is great. If you haven't double dated, I highly recommend it, specifically if you're in a monogamous relationship, because it's kind of amazing how your relationship dynamic changes just by having friends around. Different friends bring different moods and attitudes and energy. So double dating is actually a lot of fun. And they're not crossing any lines. The boundaries are very clear. We are double dating. If this was a sexual experience, you would have these 4 people in the same bed, perhaps, but everybody would be messing with their own partner, and the sexual experience would be that you're next to another couple who are doing the same thing, which can be very sexy, by the way, and doesn't cross any lines in monogamy because you never mess with the other person's partners. So let's take that to the next level. Let's say 2 of the people do, in fact, interact. This is called a chain, or linked couples, or an N. And it's called an N because if you look at it, it's shaped like an N. A really socially acceptable example of this is 2 couples where the women also fool around with each other. For some reason in our society, bi women are much more accepted than bi men. But I want to call out, this could also be a situation where you have 2 couples with a male and a female, and the men are bi and interact. Again, this could also be any combination of all men who are gay, and some of them are into each other and some of them are not, or all women who are gay, and some of them are into each other and some of them are not, or transsexual, or any combination. From a relationship standpoint, this could be 2 very separate couples. And it just so happens that one person from one couple is dating another person from another couple. So you can see now that it could be a chain of male, female, male, female. And we can actually take that to the next level. We can continue the chains. So this is a W, or also a chain. So if you start at the top, male links to female, links to male, links to female, who links to another male, who could be in another relationship. And this zigzag could just continue indefinitely. So this is a chain, or also a fluid chain. Again, I just use an example of male-female relationships, but they do not have to be. So I'm backing up. So what happens when two couples actually do play together? You get something like this. A good example of this is two straight couples where the men play with both women and the women play with both men. So if these four people were in the same bed at the same time, everybody would have two partners, but the males would not mess with the males and the females would not mess with the females. Regardless of your sexuality, if you're just not into somebody, you don't have to sleep with them. So this could be all males or all females, and it just so happens they're attracted to one of the people in the other couple. This is basically swingers who are probably straight. This is kind of the wife swapping kind of a scenario, and this is ultimately called a quad. From there, what if people do actually play with both partners? So this is your stereotypical swinger quad. And I say stereotypical, but I know many swingers who are not stereotypical. But the idea here is you have two couples, a male and a female each, and the females also have sex together. So this is often what swingers think of. Also, I've noticed in a lot of swinger circles that women are encouraged to be bisexual, but men are not really. They're kind of downplayed. But this could definitely be two men who are bisexual and two women who are straight. Again, as a sexual experience, this could be any combination of males and females and sexuality. As a relationship, you could imagine two couples that date, and when they get together, this is how they play. Or you could imagine four people living under the same roof. Perhaps two couples each have their own master bedroom, and the couples fool around every now and then. From here, we take it to the last step. What if everyone played with everybody? Or as I like to say, everyone's a winner. In this type of quad, you probably have all four people are gay and into each other, or all four people are bisexual, or some combination. So that's as far as I'm going to go with polycules and visuals in this episode. You've got up to four people. In one case, I threw out a fifth for that W chain, and all the various combinations of people playing with each other, whether it be relationship-wise, like falling in love, or whether it be actual sexual-wise, and just kind of messing around in the same space. In my next video, I'm going to show you some examples of some actual polycules and how they organically kind of grow and what relationships can look like when they're poly. Because as you can see, monogamy only has one example. Two people, one connection. But as soon as you start to get poly, there's so many different ways to do it, and everyone does it differently. So my next video is going to be all about that. Sweet, thanks for watching. I actually have a quick question for you. What do you think of this background? I'm thinking I want to jazz it up somehow. Maybe I'll throw in, I don't know, maybe a paddle or some harnesses or something like that back there. I'm open to your feedback. What would you suggest? As just a quick reminder, I want to remind everybody, I don't care if you're poly or monogamous, dating, go get tested. Get tested every 3 to 6 months. Be safe with your partner or partners. Always use condoms or sexual practices that are comparable. Again, I'm the Kinky Polyatheist. You can comment below and ask me questions. I'm happy to answer. Like and subscribe. And if you want to send me an anonymous question, send it to ask@kinkypolyatheist.com. I'll catch you in the next episode.